Hi everyone, Kathy from Kathy's Vegan Kitchen. Today we're making my famous vegan lentil loaf or meatloaf, as some people like to call it. It has a lot of ingredients, but honestly it's the best lentil loaf I've ever had or ever made, and I've made like 20 of them. So I finally got it right. So we're going to start with a pan, and I have 2 cloves of garlic that's minced. I have half a cup of onion, white onion. You could use yellow onion also. You could use red if you want. Doesn't really matter, whichever you like. I have a half a cup of red bell pepper. I have a quarter cup of diced carrots. And I use my vegetable chopper to chop all this stuff all tiny. So, I mean, it doesn't take very long. I have a quarter cup or 2 stalks of celery. Ribs. Did I say stalks? I'm going to get in trouble for that. And then I have 1 1/4 cup of mushrooms that I chopped up. And I use baby bello mushrooms, the baby portobello ones, but you can use anything you want. And then we're going to put some salt, just a pinch of salt and pepper into the pan. Okay, while this is cooking and getting softened and nice and pretty, we are going to pulse some ingredients into the food processor. Now, this is 2 cups of prepared lentils. When I say prepared, they're already cooked. These are the ones from Trader Joe's that are steamed. I love these. I buy them every time I go. You can use canned ones, but you need to drain them and you need to blot them dry. They need to be dried out, or you can cook your own, but you have to make sure that they're not too wet. That's one of the clues to a perfect vegan meatloaf. Okay, now we have 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. If you don't have flax, you can use chia seeds. I also have, I'm drawing a blank, a half a cup of quick cooking oats, a half a cup of wheat breadcrumbs. You can make your own breadcrumbs, like by toasting bread. You can use gluten-free bread even if you'd like, or gluten-free oats. And then we're going to put 2 tablespoons. Well, you know what? Let me start doing this first. So I want to pulse it a couple times. I'm trying to. Okay, we're going to pulse it a couple times, probably 3-4 times, to include, just to push the stuff together. We're going to open it up, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, a tablespoon of yellow mustard, and 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. And you can pick any kind of barbecue sauce you like. And the key to a lentil loaf is you don't want it too moist and you don't want it too dry. So we're going to pulse these things together a little bit. Okay, then we're going to look at our veggies over here. They're still cooking. We have to wait until they're cooked all the way through, and then we're going to add them to that mixture in the food processor. So let's cook these up, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, the vegetables are soft. They're cooked. They smell beautiful. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add that vegetable mixture into the food processor. Be careful because it's hot.
The tippy top of that thing.
I know, it does go to the tippy top. I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to add more back in. Hold on. We're going to add the rest. because you want to smush up the vegetables just a little bit. All right, now we're going to take this and pour it into a bowl. Just make sure it's all mixed together correctly. Okay, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of parsley. And we're going to mix it all together. And the vegetables are a little hot, so you want to let this cool a little bit because you're going to be putting it into a loaf pan to cook it. Okay, so we are all combined. It's supposed to look like this, a little bit chunky. You don't want it too mushy. That's how you get that mushy lentil loaf thing that nobody likes to eat. Okay, now you have a choice here. We have a silicone baking pan. When you use these, it cooks faster and generally not so well in the middle. So you kind of have to adjust the heat and play with it a little bit. Or you can use a glass loaf pan. And what I've done is I cut the parchment paper to fit inside. Little trick, if you get it wet, just a little tiny bit wet, and it will adhere to the inside of the pan better, and so it forms a better loaf. Okay? Now we're going to put meatloaf mixture inside the pan. And honestly, I like this the next day after I cook it. I like a cold meatloaf sandwich with mustard on it. I know that sounds weird, but it's so good. So I suggest making more than one of these if you make one because it goes away very quickly. My husband likes this a lot. Don't you, husband?
Do.
He suggested this the other night when we were having our party. He suggested that I make meatloaf. And I'm like, yeah, but some people don't even like normal meatloaf, so I didn't want to make meatloaf. Okay, now you're going to use your hands, and you're going to push it down in here and form, you know, that little like mound kind of thing that you see on top of a meatloaf, right? It's got like kind of a rounded top on it. And then, hold on. We're going to cover it with aluminum foil, and we're going to cook it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. Then we're going to uncover it, put some extra barbecue sauce on the top, and cook it uncovered for a little bit more, and then we'll take it out of the oven. So we're putting it in the oven, and we'll be back. The vegan meatloaf is out of the oven for the first 35 minutes. And it's all pretty on top. Now, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons more of the barbecue sauce. I'm just going to drizzle it on the top. And that will spread out over the top of the meatloaf. And then I'm going to put it back in the oven for 10 more minutes uncovered. Here she is. All right, now what we do is, the biggest mistake anybody makes is they pop it out of the pan right now and they try to cut it and serve it. You can't do that. It's going to fall apart. It has to rest. So you need to put the top back on, the cover back on, and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to pop it out of the pan and we'll cut it, and I'll show you what it looks like. But you cannot cut it right this second. The meatloaf is set up and it pops right out onto your plate, and it's ready to cut. And it looks yummy. And again, if you put it in the fridge, it's really good as a sandwich the next day. So I hope you enjoy the vegan meatloaf. Have a good day. See you next time.